Hello and welcome to Better Body Movement. This class is designed to help you start feeling well.
I have less pain, literally eliminate that pain.
I just feel better.
I can tell that my posture is changing.
Bright light in the day when we've done our workouts online.
It makes me feel so good about myself.
The bicep is named that because there are two different attachment points near the shoulder. The short head attaches to the coracoid process, which is a part of the shoulder blade, and the long head goes over the humerus through the biceps channel and connects in the socket. Pain will be present inside your arm if there's a problem with the short head. If there's a problem with the long head, typically the pain will run over the shoulder. We're going to locate the head of the biceps that attaches near the forearm. To do this, flex your arm with your fingers on the bicep near the elbow and find the tendon at the base of the muscle belly. Simply pinch the muscle belly and extend the arm. If you feel like you're not getting enough pressure with your fingertips, use a lacrosse ball. Try one of two positions, either holding with your fingers or pressed with the palm into the bicep. I find I get better pressure when I use my palm. Remember to squeeze and extend. Another muscle that could create bicep pain is actually in your forearm. This is the brachioradialis, which passes from the humerus towards the wrist. To begin working the brachioradialis, reach under the elbow across to the forearm and pinch down as hard as you can tolerate. Now rotate the wrist, and the muscle should feel like it grinds underneath the fingertips. Do 7 to 10 repetitions, then locate a new point and continue to grind over that muscle. You should feel the fingers drop off the muscle. When you finish, put the fingers on top of the arm, pinch down, and create extension while rotating the wrist. Again, bend the elbow, then extend while you rotate the wrist. Notice my hand goes palm to chest, then palm to floor while I'm extending my elbow. Perform 7 to 10 repetitions and then move on to the next tender spot and repeat. When you have finished the pin and stretch, move on to cross fiber friction. Place the arm you are working across your knees, then grind the opposite forearm across the muscle tissue near the bicep head. This should be an abrasive force moving through the muscle tissue quickly. Continue to press through that muscle tissue until you feel like you've broken down the entire thing. The bicep is named that because there are two different attachment points near the shoulder. The short head attaches to the coracoid process, which is a part of the shoulder blade, and the long head goes over the humerus through the biceps channel and connects in the socket. Pain will be present inside your arm if there's a problem with the short head. If there's a problem with the long head, typically the pain will run over the shoulder. We're going to locate the head of the biceps that attaches near the forearm. To do this, flex your arm with your fingers on the bicep near the elbow and find the tendon at the base of the muscle belly. Simply pinch the muscle belly and extend the arm. If you feel like you're not getting enough pressure with your fingertips, use a lacrosse ball. Try one of two positions, either holding with your fingers or pressed with the palm into the bicep. I find I get better pressure when I use my palm. Remember to squeeze and extend. Another muscle that could create bicep pain is actually in your forearm. This is the brachioradialis, which passes from the humerus towards the wrist. To begin working the brachioradialis, reach under the elbow across to the forearm and pinch down as hard as you can tolerate. Now rotate the wrist, and the muscle should feel like it grinds underneath the fingertips. Do 7 to 10 repetitions, then locate a new point and continue to grind over that muscle. You should feel the fingers drop off the muscle. When you finish, put the fingers on top of the arm, pinch down, and create extension while rotating the wrist. Again, bend the elbow, then extend while you rotate the wrist. Notice my hand goes palm to chest, then palm to floor while I'm extending my elbow. Perform 7 to 10 repetitions and then move on to the next tender spot and repeat. When you have finished the pin and stretch, move on to cross fiber friction. Place the arm you are working across your knees, then grind the opposite forearm across the muscle tissue near the bicep head. This should be an abrasive force moving through the muscle tissue quickly. Continue to press through that muscle tissue until you feel like you've broken down the entire thing. The bicep is named that because there are 2 different attachment points near the shoulder. The short head attaches to the coracoid process, which is a part of the shoulder blade, and the long head goes over the humerus through the biceps channel and connects in the socket. Pain will be present inside your arm if there's a problem with the short head. If there's a problem with the long head, typically the pain will run over the shoulder. We're going to locate the head of the biceps that attaches near the forearm. To do this, flex your arm with your fingers on the bicep near the elbow and find the tendon at the base of the muscle belly. Simply pinch the muscle belly and extend the arm. If you feel like you're not getting enough pressure with your fingertips, use a lacrosse ball. Try one of 2 positions, either holding with your fingers or pressed with the palm into the bicep. I find I get better pressure when I use my palm. Remember to squeeze and extend. Another muscle that could create bicep pain is actually in your forearm. This is the brachioradialis, which passes from the humerus towards the wrist. To begin working the brachioradialis, reach under the elbow across to the forearm and pinch down as hard as you can tolerate. Now rotate the wrist, and the muscle should feel like it grinds underneath the fingertips. Do 7 to 10 repetitions, then locate a new point and continue to grind over that muscle. You should feel the fingers drop off the muscle. When you finish, put the fingers on top of the arm, pinch down, and create extension while rotating the wrist. Again, bend the elbow, then extend while you rotate the wrist. Notice my hand goes palm to chest, then palm to floor while I'm extending my elbow. Perform 7 to 10 repetitions and then move on to the next tender spot and repeat. When you have finished the pin and stretch, move on to cross fiber friction. Place the arm you are working across your knees, then grind the opposite forearm across the muscle tissue near the bicep head. This should be an abrasive force moving through the muscle tissue quickly. Continue to press through that muscle tissue until you feel like you've broken down the entire thing.
We're going to go live here. Hello, good morning. We were just chatting about some fun stuff and Sunday service and things that were happening, but I was forced into, well, not forced into, I voluntold by the other leaders that I was going to be in charge of our children's service. So that was like Saturday morning. So I was sitting there and I was just praying. I'm like, okay, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to do? And I was sweeping the floor, and we came to, as I was sweeping and praying over the kids, the word of observe kept coming up over and over and over. And observe, observe, observe. And then I thought of this old video that I had watched some years ago. It's selective attention. It's a selective attention video. It's really fun, but maybe I don't give it away and just share the link and see what happens if you guys try it. But basically, you observe what's happening in this video, and it tells you one thing to watch for in the video, right? So you start watching for this thing in the video, and you're counting, and you're seeing what's happening the whole time, and then it gets done, and you're like, okay, it was, 15, 14, 12, however many times this happened, and then it asks you a question
About
and
something totally
about something
unrelated.
completely unrelated, and you're sitting there going, what? There's no way that happened. And they play the video in reverse, and all of a sudden you see exactly what happened in the video, and you go, I had no idea, and how could I not see it?
So we only see what we're looking for.
You only see what you're looking for. So I showed the kids this video, and we've had a good discussion on it, and basically the point was, there are things that we observe so closely and we're so focused on that it might take everything else away, and that's the only thing we ever notice, even though God might be working in a situation. So like situationally, we might be so focused on what that situation is doing and how we feel and how it hurts us and everything that's going on that we don't see the greater hand of God at work in what's happening. So I just, and that was it. Like that literally was my sermon. I mean, we just made Mother's Day cards and stuff with the kids, but that was just my little tidbit. I'm like, all right, I got 1 point for you guys, and it lasted about 5 minutes. Done. That's it. That's all I got to teach.
Perfect homily.
So-
5 minutes and 1 point.
So that was a good weekend. Anyway, let's go through our iDedicates this week. Lori's mom is doing dialysis still 3 times a week, so praying for them through that time. Ethan with the stage 4 liver and bile duct cancer, pray for him and his family as he continues in that process. My friend's wife, who is diagnosed with breast cancer, they're treating that through natural means. So just praying for healing there. Sky Toyne with her transplant, medication side effects. She's still within the 100 days of the process of that change. So we want to make sure that we're praying over her to reduce infection and get healthy quick. And then Daryl.
No news on Dale.
No news on
Actually, I
Daryl's.
talked to Mary, but I didn't ask her about Shane. No.
Okay. So no news on Daryl or Cheney, so we'll just keep praying for them. Daryl with his brother passing and trying to get all the arrangements set up, and then Cheney with his diabetes and health issues, just trying to pray for him. 18, right? You said 17.
He is 16. He'll be 17 in June.
17 in June. So young, having
What
to
he
deal
really
with diabetes.
needs is a phone to monitor this, to see in his hand.
And all
encompassing
continuous
one,
tracking.
So he doesn't have to have 2 or 3 different devices carried.
Okay.
So
well, maybe we just pray that gets done so we can
Yeah.
track and be
that's what Mary's
taken
praying.
care of there. Okay, so we'll join her in that petition that they get him set up and taken care of as far as monitoring his insulin, I suppose. So, our verse of the day: He has told you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with your God. Micah 6:8. Micah for Micah. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our core day. Remember, this is just on the floor. Round 1, we're not going to do a whole lot of crazy stuff with the legs. Remember, it's just getting your brain connected to the compression. So it's a Kegel and then core compression.
2, 1, pelvic tilt.
Okay, and your core compression comes from pressing the low back down into the floor. Okay, and then do your absolute best to re-squeeze that core firm, right? If you're questioning if you have that right, go to do a sit-up, right? A crunch, lift your shoulders off the ground, feel what that feels like in your core, and then set your shoulders down, trying to keep your core tight and low back on the floor. Right? That's one way to do this. Because we're always going to work through our postural positions, trying to keep our shoulders behind our ears, core compressed, glutes tight. Well,
3, 2,
I guess not really
1.
glutes tight.
Prepare for pelvic tilt with
That's
knee
other
fall out.
postural days. Today it's just about the core getting tight. Okay, so knee fall out, compress the core, knee out to the side, re-squeeze, bring it back up, re-squeeze,
3,
then do the other
2,
side.
1. Pelvic tilt with knee fall out.
Good, tight squeeze, firm. Doing your best all the way through. Tight squeeze. Core compressed. Firm, 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 firm. Again, every time it goes to the side, re-squeeze your core to make sure that your spine isn't twisting as you do this, right? So your pelvic bowl shouldn't be spilling water. Okay? Firm squeeze, nice and tight. Doing your absolute best all the way through, all the way through. Nice and tight. And your absolute best, okay?
2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with
Good.
adduction.
Tilt with adduction, so grab a foam roller or a pillow, anything you have at home to be able to squeeze between those knees. So remember, core compressed, nice and tight. Squeeze the knees firm, relax the knees, relax the core.
Pelvic tilt with adduction.
Okay, and again, this is just so we can have as tight of compression as possible through the movement of squeezing the knees and relaxing the knees. Then you can relax the core. Okay? But I want it very distinct. It should be very tight through each one, right? Core compressed, squeeze the knees, keep the core, release the knees, keep the core, then release the core. Okay? And again, we're just always focusing round one on connecting the brain to the muscle tissue, getting it really, really tight. Okay? Do your absolute best. Again, squeeze, firm, 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 firm. Compress the core. Squeeze the knees,
3,
release the knees,
2,
release the core.
1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with knee toward chest. 3, 2, 1. Pelvic
go.
tilt with knee toward chest.
Again, squeeze that core tight, compress firm, shoulders still down and back. As you march your feet, don't let your hips or the pelvis rotate on the floor. Okay, the whole point here is that you stay so compressed, the pelvis does not move at all. Okay? Re-squeeze, get really tight, firm compression.
That's halfway.
Your absolute best. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Nice compression. And then recheck, core, core, core. Nice and tight.
3,
Awesome.
1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with bridge.
Okay, tilt and bridge. So this one is where we start squeezing the butt tight, right? Feet about shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit
3,
farther.
2,
Right? Make sure you
1.
squeeze those cheeks
Pelvic
together.
tilt with bridge.
And again, as you bridge, it happens every so often that the hamstrings really start to pull on the backside of the legs. So if you need to, push your feet away, just activate those quads a little bit, and it'll help take some of that stress off those hamstrings. Okay? Or if you want to train your hamstrings, you can actually pull your heels, like we do on leg day. And
That's
again,
halfway.
squeeze the core. You should be lifting up nice and flat, setting back down the way that you started. So if your low back is arched off the ground, right, when you return, you lost your core. So we want to re-brace, okay? Compress, compress, compress. Keep that, what we call posterior pelvic tilt, right? Tilting the pelvis backwards just a bit. Press through the core.
3, 2, 1. Prepare
Good.
for shoulder drops.
Awesome. Okay, get ready for the shoulder drops. So again, shoulder blades down and back. Get your core as tight as possible.
3,
Then allow your
2,
arm to go up overhead.
1. Shoulder drop.
Okay, if you're able to, keep those arms nice and straight. Right? And again, do not reach more, sacrificing your spine. Right? So that's what I see a lot of times is as soon as the shoulder sticks and it doesn't feel like going more through the joint, we end up arching the back thinking I'm getting more range of motion. Right? So we want to avoid that by compressing the core, hold tight, up to where it either is
That's
painful or it just stops, and then return, pulling the shoulder back, down, and back. Okay? We want that set into a stable position, which means you're retracting the shoulder blades, or the bottom of your shoulder blades are actually trying to pinch your bra strap. Okay? Unclip your bra strap with those shoulder blades. Pull them down, back, down, back. Always just trying to change that. Squeeze as hard as possible.
3, 2, 1.
Very good.
Prepare for dead bug.
Okay, good dead bugs.
Three, 2, 1. Dead bug.
Re-squeeze, compress tight, firm, firm, firm. Holding all the way through, compress that core nice and tight. Again, only extend your leg as far as your core stays tight. If you extend your leg and your low back leaves the ground, you're going too far. Shorten that distance. You don't have to go far for this to be effective.
That's halfway.
Right? What makes this most effective is crushing your low back down to the floor as hard as you possibly can. Right? You're almost thinking use your core to peel your tailbone off the floor. Right? Lift it up. Compress hard, hard, hard. Almost done, ladies. 10 seconds. Okay, finish strong all the way through.
3,
Your
2,
best.
1. Long rest.
Awesome. All right, so round 1 is complete. For round 2, we're going to start lifting 50% of the weight off your feet. So same movements. This time, just add in lifting that feet. So with each one, I'll kind of tell you where we're supposed to put that. But the focus then being maintaining pressure through your core and the movement while you try to lift those, just 50% of the weight. So your feet don't actually leave the floor. Okay? Go ahead and get set.
Three, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt. Three, 2, 1. Pelvic tilt.
Okay, good tight pelvic tilts. Compress as hard as you possibly can. Squeezing firm. Tight, tight, tight. Okay, once you get that core tight, right, 50% of the weight off the feet. So you don't have to actually hover them, right? But I do want you to brace that spine and start that process of pulling the knees towards the chest in order to be able to get more out of the core, right? So that's the point. If you're not getting more out of the core, don't pull, right? If it pulls your back off the ground just like that, right, peels your hips up, you know the core is not holding or bracing your spine. So you want to get that brace down. Hold, hold, hold. Okay?
3,
Think like
2,
that belt on the
1.
bike.
Prepare for pelvic tilt with knee fall
That's kind of
out.
what we're trying to do, is create some of that compression just internally. Okay, knee fall out, so same thing, core compressed. Gently take some of the weight off your feet, then go out to the side.
Pelvic tilt with knee fall out.
Okay, so tilt, compress hard, hard, hard. Then squeeze the knees up just a tiny bit. Let it fall out to the side, bring it back up. Go to the other side, bring it back up. Re-squeeze the core, re-squeeze the core. Every single time. Okay, doing your best, your best. Compress, tight, tight, tight. Firm squeeze.
That's halfway.
Your best all the way through. Squeeze tight, 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 tight. Compress, compress, compress. Awesome. Again, don't let the hips roll or shift on the ground. Right? The back of the pelvis should be set in place, holding tight.
1. Prepare
Awesome.
for pelvic tilt with adduction.
Okay, very good, ladies. Tilt with adduction. So we're going to squeeze the core, squeeze the knees, gently pull the knees towards the chest, set the feet back down, release the knees, release the
3,
core.
2, 1. Pelvic tilt with adduction.
Okay, here we go. Core tight. Kegel, compress, squeeze those knees, peel the knees towards the chest a tiny bit, set them back down, release the knees, release the core. And it should take about that long. You're not going to go for reps here. You're going for how hard can you squeeze your core and go through the process of contraction and relaxation. Re-squeeze. Tight, tight, tight. Right? Gently lifting,
That's
setting the
halfway.
feet back down. And again, the lift is only to make you aware of how tight your core is. If you go to lift the feet and your back comes off the floor, reset. Get the core tight again. Try it again. Right? Because even neurologically, you might just, especially if this is the first time doing it, you might not have an idea of how to even make that core work. So we want to make sure that it fires before we start adding
2,
difficulty.
1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with knee toward chest.
Okay, tilt with knee toward chest. Think recompress the core. And your opposite foot should be light on the floor.
3,
Still only
2,
moving one at a
1.
time.
Pelvic tilt with knee toward chest.
Okay, so just one at a time. Opposite foot is light, light, light. You're taking 50% of the weight off of that foot. Good core compression. Don't let the hips shift at all. Holding nice and firm all the way through.
That's halfway.
Very good. Tight squeeze, core compressed. Shoulder blades down and back. Do your absolute best.
Three, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with bridge.
Good. Okay, get ready for the tilt and bridge. Remember, core compressed, shoulder blades down and back. Squeeze your butt cheeks nice and hard.
2, 1. Pelvic tilt with bridge.
Obviously, we're not lifting the feet off the floor on this one. Otherwise, that'd be really, really impressive. Good squeeze. Awesome. Again, remember, the place to check if you've kept your core is when you return to the floor.
That's
Right?
halfway.
If you return to the floor and your ribs, low back, and hips hit all at the same time, you know it stayed tight. But if you return and your back is arched, that's when you know you lost it. Re-squeeze, try again. Set down, make sure that you maintain that tight braced spine. We're trying to avoid when we get into a hip extended position, the back arching to get there.
1.
Right?
Prepare for shoulder drops.
All right, good shoulder drops. Remember, shoulder blades down and back, down and back, down and back. Pinch that bra strap as tight as you can. Then you can put your arms towards the ceiling.
3, 2, 1. Shoulder drop.
Now compress your core tight. Don't let that go. Try to keep that core tight. Okay, almost makes me wish we did have a nice big class and I just put you guys all side by side and then I just walk across your stomachs right here because I know you guys have them that tight. Be able to hold me no problem.
That's halfway.
Halfway, so do your best all the way through. Core compress, tight, tight, tight. Almost there. Okay. Core, re-squeeze. Make sure that back's on the ground, flat, flat, flat.
3,
Pull those shoulder
2,
blades out of the ears.
1. Prepare for dead bug.
Out of the ear and to the rear.
Three, 2, 1. Dead bug.
Good. Dead bugs or bird dogs. Remember, if you're in the bird dog, don't cat or cow. That's right. Changing your spine. Cat, cow. Compress, hold firm into neutral. Again, with your dead bugs, do not overextend. Same thing with the bird dog. If you overextend, you're going to start arching your back just to try to get your leg out. And that's not what I want. I want control, squeeze, tight, tight, tight.
That's halfway.
Good, firm squeeze, control your movement. Think about how your body's positioned, what it's doing. Keep tabs on all the movements. Okay. Does your core stay tight through those movements?
2, 1. Long rest.
Awesome. Okay, 2 rounds down, 1 to go. This will be our last one, so that means we gotta make it extra fun and try to lift the feet all the way off the ground this time. So every movement that we do, except the bridge, we're gonna try to lift the feet, hover them for 1 to 2 seconds. Make sure you can frame that position, set the feet back down, then you'll be able to relax, okay? Otherwise, get a good drink. We'll be back at it.
Three, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt. Three, 2, 1. Pelvic tilt.
Okay, tight squeeze. Once you get the squeeze on, then lift the feet, hover them, hold, set them back down, and then release the core. Okay, you have to make that very, very distinct. Want each movement to be its own movement. Okay, core tight, compress hard, raise the feet, hover, hold, set them back down, release the core. Okay, do not slur them together. When your feet go down, your core should still be tight.
That's halfway.
Then you can relax. As long as they're very distinct with each one, okay? Doing your absolute best the whole way through. Create tight compression.
Three, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with knee fall out.
Okay, get ready for the pelvic tilt and then the knee fall out. So compress the core, squeeze really tight, hover the feet, knee out, knee back up,
3, 2, 1.
and then do the other
Pelvic
side.
tilt with knee fall out.
Good compression, re-squeeze that core. Hover your feet, then go out to the side and bring it back up. And again, this might be a shortened range of motion because you're losing one of those points of contact on the floor. So if your feet are hovering, it's going to be much more difficult to stay balanced. You might find even that your hands out to the side, kind of wide out, 45 from your side.
That's halfway.
That can help too, to give you a little more brace and then compress that floor, or compress the core against the floor. Core to floor. Good, good, good. Nice and tight. All the way through, doing your best.
3, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with adduction.
Awesome. Tilt with adduction.
Three, 2, 1. Pelvic tilt with adduction.
Re-squeeze the core, compress those knees, lift the feet, set the feet down, release the knees, then the core. Remember, the core stays on through every single step. So even the relaxation processes, core still tight, then release the core. Do your absolute best, right? So if your best is only lifting a tiny bit off the feet, it might be not even lifting the feet at all. That's okay. Compress hard. Do your best to make sure the core stays tight. That is the primary focus. If you're able to get the feet to hover, awesome. If not, who cares? Compress the core. That is the most important part. Good, ladies. Finish through.
2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with knee toward chest.
Good. Tilt with knee toward chest. So again, as you march, your opposite foot should be light. If you are hovering, do not
3,
scissor kick. It's pretty
2,
easy to have both
1.
moving simultaneously.
Pelvic tilt with knee toward chest.
Come up to a hover, foot up, back down to a hover, then do the other side. Down to a hover. And again, if you can't hover, that's fine. Do just a little bit of weight off of your feet and make sure your core stays contracted while the opposite foot moves. Squeeze tight. Firm compression the whole way through. Everything that you can. Right here, last
That's
round.
halfway.
Compress, compress. Your best. Good deal. Awesome, awesome. Squeeze tight. Especially as those feet are moving. Almost done.
1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with bridge.
Good. Switch out into the bridge. So you get one where you don't have to lift those feet at all. Right? Feet shoulder width apart. Make sure they're nice and wide. It should feel like they're wide.
1.
Okay? If it feels like, a normal stance, I want you to go just a little bit wider. Okay? Compress that core. Make sure you're really engaging those hips, lifting up. But as you set down, you should still be really, really tight, maintaining your spine to the floor, right? Re-squeeze, compress hard, doing your absolute best. Good squeeze, good squeeze.
That's halfway.
Awesome work. Compress, tall and tight. Good work. Re-squeeze that spine. Make sure it's braced, really firm. Compress hard. Then do your best through it.
3, 2, 1. Prepare for shoulder drops.
Okay, shoulder drops. 2 more to go, ladies. Remember, outside of the core being tight, shoulders most important. Okay? Get them back to the floor, but down to your butt.
Shoulder drop.
Okay, we're not looking for the shoulders to just be back, right? We want to also reach down. Press that core, holding a nice tall position. Right? Re-squeeze, re-squeeze. Shoulder blades set into place. And again, as your arm goes overhead, do not reach through your spine to get there. Okay, we don't want to arch our back trying to get up.
That's
And
halfway.
every time your arm returns, you should be returning those shoulders, right? Pulling them down, making the back work, but nice and tight. Okay, core compressed, firm, firm, firm. Doing your best, ladies. Good, good, good.
3,
Almost there.
2, 1. Prepare for dead bug.
Awesome. Okay, last one. So dead bug or bird dog. Remember, either way, neutral spine, maintain the compression. Do not overextend.
3, 2, 1. Dead bug.
Okay, good dead bugs. Compress, hold, firm, firm, firm. Hold tight. Right? As you extend opposites, nothing should change in your spine. No change in the spine.
I'm used to that. Yeah, Bob? Yeah. I'm Tim. Tim, yeah? Very nice to meet you.
Good, good, good.
We'll come on back.
Tight squeeze,
We'll do a little
hold
bit of
firm.
talking, and then we'll see how we can help you, okay? Oh, I bet we can.
That's how
Compress, compress, compress. Tight, tight, tight. Good. Here's the bird dogs on display. Same thing, just on the hands and knee. Remember, recompress. Firm, firm, firm. Do not let that core change. Hold it tight. Compress through, compress through. Try to get it, ladies. 10 seconds. Do your best to finish strong. Re-squeeze the core. Get those shoulders down and back.
2, 1. Long rest.
Very, very good work, ladies. That does it for today. Very good job. We will see you again tomorrow for our upper body day. I know for us, at least, this is a day in the 80s, so hopefully you get out to enjoy that. Kind of nice to have that, except wind was up really good coming through, so, but I'm okay if it's bringing hot air. All right, have a wonderful day. I will see you guys again tomorrow. Remember, I am here to help you move well so you live well.
The bicep is named that because there are two different attachment points near the shoulder. The short head attaches to the coracoid process, which is a part of the shoulder blade, and the long head goes over the humerus through the biceps channel and connects in the socket. Pain will be present inside your arm if there's a problem with the short head. If there's a problem with the long head, typically the pain will run over the shoulder. We're going to locate the head of the biceps that attaches near the forearm. To do this, flex your arm with your fingers on the bicep near the elbow and find the tendon at the base of the muscle belly. Simply pinch the muscle belly and extend the arm. If you feel like you're not getting enough pressure with your fingertips, use a lacrosse ball. Try one of two positions, either holding with your fingers or pressed with the palm into the bicep. I find I get better pressure when I use my palm. Remember to squeeze and extend. Another muscle that could create bicep pain is actually in your forearm. This is the brachioradialis, which passes from the humerus towards the wrist. To begin working the brachioradialis, reach under the elbow across to the forearm and pinch down as hard as you can tolerate. Now rotate the wrist, and the muscle should feel like it grinds underneath the fingertips. Do 7 to 10 repetitions, then locate a new point and continue to grind over that muscle. You should feel the fingers drop off the muscle. When you finish, put the fingers on top of the arm, pinch down, and create extension while rotating the wrist. Again, bend the elbow, then extend while you rotate the wrist. Notice my hand goes palm to chest, then palm to floor while I'm extending my elbow. Perform 7 to 10 repetitions and then move on to the next tender spot and repeat. When you have finished the pin and stretch, move on to cross fiber friction. Place the arm you are working across your knees, then grind the opposite forearm across the muscle tissue near the bicep head. This should be an abrasive force moving through the muscle tissue quickly. Continue to press through that muscle tissue until you feel like you've broken down the entire thing.
Somehow.